No face, no case, no trace, no waste in the crypto game. He's the ace in the race. No face, no case, no need to replace the king of the chain, staying in his own space.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the No Face Crypto channel. What is No Face No Case? You feel me? I'm going to be explaining how all of these Ripple acquisitions connect, lock in. In 2025, Ripple has made so many moves it can be hard to keep track. They've acquired for $1 billion just now GTreasury, a corporate treasury management company. In addition to that, they have also acquired for $1.25 billion Hidden Road, a multi-asset prime brokerage firm. And then just to add the cherry on top, we have Rail, a connecting services platform, payments platform, stablecoin platform, whatever you want to call it, it's there for $200 million. And if things couldn't get any spicier, Ripple-backed XRP treasury firm eyes NASDAQ IPO and plans to raise $1 billion for this IPO deal, okay? Evernorth Holdings Inc. will go public on NASDAQ through a merger with Special Purpose Acquisition Company SPAC, or aka a SPAC, Armada Acquisitions Corp. 2. The new entity is expected to trade under the ticker symbol XRPN after the deal, which is expected to close in the first quarter of 2026. Alright? You are seeing a trend of tons and tons of people leaving Ripple and going and starting their own startups surrounding XRP and Ripple products. Many of the likes of which include Robert Mitchnick, who is the current head of digital assets at BlackRock. During Robert Mitchnick's time at Ripple, he wrote a fundamental valuation framework for crypto assets. Alright, it is no coincidence that this gentleman is now the head of digital assets at BlackRock. You can deny it, you can not believe in it. You will be forced to use XRP whether you like it or not.
I don't like where this is going. Stop! Stop!
We also have a Michael Barr, who is a former advisor to Ripple. He has a regulatory role in the Federal Reserve and now serves as the vice chair for supervision of the Federal Reserve System. As an advisor for Ripple, he promoted innovation in payments, alright, but his work drew a lot of scrutiny due to his government roles and experience with companies like Ripple. Guys, understand something though, alright? There's a reason he works at the Federal Reserve now. They are going to use Ripple and XRP at such a high level, I don't know if anyone's ready to actually see these prices. Let's not forget as well, when Ripple was sued by the SEC after Will, aka Bill Henman, gave the Ethereum free pass speech, unjustly, by the way.
Head of the Division of Corporation Finance at the SEC stated, Bitcoin is not a security due to its decentralized core. The same thing previously said Jay Clayton, the head of the SEC. William Hinman also commented on Ether. It's not a security as well because the Ethereum network is also decentralized.
Ripple went ahead because they were being sued, aka, what do you want to call it, suppressed by the SEC. Ripple went ahead and acquired the 43rd Treasurer of the United States, Rosie Rios. This is not something to bat an eye to or anything like that. Understand how deep this goes. And if you want one more, just before we get to the real meat and potatoes of this video, back in 2023, Ripple went ahead and acquired former Obama White House official Lauren Believe to head U.S. public policy. As you can see here on the board of directors at Ripple, we have Rosie Rios listed, as I have just discussed. All of these other people held significant positions before coming and working at Ripple. Chris Larson is someone we will go into, in addition to David Schwartz and Monica Long, some of the biggest heavy-hitting faces of Ripple. Alright, please strap in for the rest of this video because stuff is about to get deep. We are about to go down the rabbit hole just a little bit.
See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out. And also, if you stay down here and you never fuck around, you'll never find out. So I hope this lesson is helpful. Thank you.
So who was or who is David Schwartz? To be able to dissect David Schwartz in an effective manner, I believe we must first start with, I believe, to be his earliest, largest accomplishment in life. And it may have set the framework for crypto as we know it today. What you are looking at here is a patent, a multi-computer system patent that is used as we know it today for blockchain and digital communication between two cryptocurrencies. Here we are. I'm going to read the abstract for you. Keep in mind, this patent dropped in 1991, June 18th. Not 2015, not 2010. No, this dropped in 1991. So keep that in mind. This patented computer system by David Schwartz in 1991 is a multi-level distributed computer system for distributed processing, preferably includes a plurality of personal computers. A task inputted to the system is divided into a plurality of portions. As many of the portions as possible are distributed for processing on the lowest level of the system. Those portions unprocessed on the lowest level are distributed for processing on the next lowest level. Remaining unprocessed portions of the task are distributed to available computers on successfully higher levels of the system until all the tasks have been distributed for processing.
Filed by David Schwartz, and you can see at a company called David Schwartz Enterprise. He essentially outlines a similar thing that he published in 1991, the date of the patent, but this was actually filed in 1980, so a long time ago. Remember, he is the chief architect of Ripple. The story of Ripple as a company actually exists in 2004. This is Brian Fudger, who essentially sort of gave the company to Chris, David, and Jed McCaleb at the time. And you can see here he says, a proposal for a decentralized currency network to facilitate decentralized payments via non-bank and non-government intermediaries. We need to maintain a social network in which connections between parties are defined by granting credit. A computer will do the work of finding the IOU payment path through the network. Ripple did exist in 2008. Before all of this, there was papers on essentially using cryptography to enable distributed ledger technology or blockchains, certainly prior to Bitcoin's creation.
In 1992, which would have been a year after that patent was complete, Schwartz and his father, a doctor of internal medicine, co-founded a medical technology company that developed a non-invasive device for recording data about heart murmurs. The product didn't sell well, but demand for programmers rose during the dot-com era, and Schwartz pursued a number of network-related programming positions. Meanwhile, he was getting interested in cryptography. In 2001, he landed at a company in Santa Clara, California, called Webmaster Inc., where he helped design an early cloud-based storage system. During his decade there, he also consulted for the NSA, helping integrate the agency's networking software with the existing security and public key infrastructure technology. In other words, Schwartz was gaining a working knowledge of cryptography at a high level. It was a fantastic experience, Schwartz says. You guys need to understand, Bitcoin was a test. Bitcoin was designed by a government agency to get everyone used to blockchain technology so they can bring in the real shit, which is XRP. David Schwartz worked for the NSA. What do you think he worked for? What do you think he really, you think he just didn't touch cryptocurrency? You think he didn't design Bitcoin, and you think he didn't design XRP too? He clearly designed XRP. So what I'm about to show you here is a little bit of a raindrop of David Schwartz insinuating that Satoshi would have a lot of XRP. But before I show you that, I'm going to show you what I just said in the last 30 seconds, but from our friend Ido Farina in the XRP army.
The white paper of Bitcoin, it has failed. Bitcoin was supposed to be a currency, not a store of value. That's the original design from Satoshi Nakamoto himself. Now, all these Bitcoin maximalists are celebrating, oh, ETF is going to get approved, BlackRock is pumping Bitcoin. Guess what? That is contrary to everything Bitcoin was created for. Now, Bitcoin stands for beta test coin. The truth always comes in plain sight Unfortunately, only a very small fraction of people are actually able to see through everything that is going on and understand that XRP is the final version of the product.
I joined the Bitcoin Talk forum, which was probably about the only Bitcoin forum at that time. Maybe there were a couple others. And I started looking at the software to see like how was the engineering designed, and I started participating in the community, and it just accelerated from there. I just realized immediately that was the right thing for me to be learning about and messing with.
Stop the cap.
Now, do we really think this is how David Schwartz discovered Bitcoin? Do we really think he was on StumbleUpon? Come on.
Is that we realized early. At the time, a lot of people were thinking Bitcoin would take over the world and everybody would use Bitcoin for everything. It's hard to just sort of look at something randomly and learn it and understand it. So I looked at what issues people were having. Mining pools were just starting to come to the forefront and they were running into limitations. The Bitcoin software was never designed with mining pools in mind, and there were some limitations they were running into. And so I started solving those limits, and I got bounties in Bitcoin, which is like, hey, that's real money. That's a cool way to get paid. And I started accumulating a little stash of Bitcoin. And then I realized I wanted to do something like professionally that involved the cryptocurrency space. And of course, there really wasn't much of anything at the time. And that was when Jed McCaleb found me. And he had the very, very beginning of the germ of the idea that became what we now call the XRP ledger.
And the performance of XRP compares with Bitcoin. Bitcoin today, as was said earlier, Bitcoin in many ways has been a successful experiment, but not when it comes to payments. The throughput of Bitcoin, both in terms of to confirm a transaction, often can take an hour. I think Tavis said earlier, you're not going to use Bitcoin to buy coffee unless you want to wait there an hour for it to confirm the transaction. And then the transaction cost would be pretty high.
The last time we heard from Satoshi Nakamoto was in 2011. David Schwartz joined Ripple in 2011. Don't ask how I found this, but here listed in a deposition of David Schwartz as part of the Securities and Exchange Commission lawsuit against Ripple Labs, Bradley Garlinghouse, and Chris Larson. We have on page 273 of this document here, which I will show you, he mentions Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, what does he have to say about Satoshi Nakamoto? Well, here we go. David goes on to say, under the court of law in a deposition, that, well, the distribution of Bitcoin was very, very hard to know at the time. So, Satoshi, the original creator, probably held an enormous amount of XRP at the time. I will read that one more time so you guys can understand. This is David Schwartz saying this. The distribution of Bitcoin was very, very hard to know at the time. Satoshi, the original creator, probably held an enormous amount of XRP at that time. Yeah. So, is there anything else that we need to discuss in terms of Bitcoin being a test and XRP being the real deal?
Don't say I didn't warn you.
Shut down. So
well, the thing is how many people have been deplatformed just for pulling back the curtain?
Shut down. So
well, the thing is how many people have been deplatformed just for pulling back the curtain?
They wrongfully suspended my X account. So I met with lawyers yesterday. Have some cars passing. So that was a very difficult problem to bring all of this here. And most importantly, we're gonna file an injunction against X. So what's happening is that they wrongfully banned my account. They call it a ban evasion, but that implies that I had tried to circumvent a previous ban that was never there in the first place. Did multiple appeals, and we have impersonators who are trying to scam my followers. People are losing life savings because my account is banned, so they can't really know what's happening. People are thinking that I violated rules on X, but when we look what ban evasion means, that's not correct.
Well, I'll just give you this information and let you know that he's been banned on every platform for telling the truth.
Who is the real Satoshi Nakamoto and what is the truth about the creation of Bitcoin? So everything you need to know is in plain sight. Bitcoin stands for BTC, beta test coin. That's right, it's a testnet, but the original product actually came out later on, which was originally called XNS. So XNS was the initial name for XRP that was issued by Arthur Britto, one of the founders of Ripple and also one of the architects of the XRP ledger, being Arthur Britto, Chad McCaleb, and David Schwartz. In the world of finance, X stands for there's no country that has issued the asset. That's why we have X over here, which is the case of XRP. S stands for Nakamoto Satoshi. It's actually inverted because in Japan, the surname actually comes before the given name, and that makes Nakamoto Satoshi instead of Satoshi Nakamoto. So there you have NS, XNS, so X being no country of issue, and NS standing for Satoshi Nakamoto. But the real catch is that Nakamoto Satoshi actually means National Security Agency, the NSA, the currency of the National Security Agency. That's the case for XRP, and that's also the case for Bitcoin. In this video, I'm going to tell you who is the real Satoshi Nakamoto. Managing 100 or 200 million hedge fund or something of such a large scale, there's not a lot of reasons to buy Bitcoin right now. I totally get it if you want to eventually open some longs and shorts, but don't play with your entire portfolio. All of that system is designed for retail investors to lose their money. Just look how many examples of market manipulations in the last weeks. Didn't you have enough of all of these narratives? Aren't you tired of getting wrecked? That is what happens to retail investors every time. When you don't have a plan, when you don't have a strategy, you're playing with emotions. That's why they create this game. They don't need Bitcoin to pump to 100k. They already made their profits. You shouldn't even think for a second that BlackRock just found out about Bitcoin in the last bull run or in the last couple of months. They have been investing since Bitcoin was probably around $100. Actually, $100 is way too high. Today we know there's a huge involvement from the NSA on the creation of Bitcoin. Bitcoin was an experiment. You can make sure the government was involved in the creation of Bitcoin. You should have no doubts that entities like BlackRock, JP Morgan, Grayscale.
Holy shit.
Now that we have established some of that information, let's discuss Ripple's new acquisition and new acquisitions. But let's talk about GTreasury, which is the newest of those acquisitions. And there's much more I need to break down in this video. So we're going to kind of break this stuff down as fast as possible so we can make a big connection. So to start things out, Ripple has acquired GTreasury for the amount of $1 billion. That's not some sleight of change. I mean, let's be honest, they out here swinging that weight around. They out here slapping it on a table, slapping it in the face of these big banks. Bro, they throwing a B here, a B there, a B everywhere. It's crazy. For over 30 years, we've been innovating our solutions to give clients a powerful single source of truth for their complex global finances. As technology, treasury, and world has evolved, so have we. From our first product built by Orazio Manzi-Pater, a pioneer of automated treasury software, to our current SaaS treasury ecosystem, our mission has stayed the same: to create solutions that empower finance teams to drive business value. Now, you can go ahead and take a look of this little thing going across the screen down here. Trusted by industry leaders worldwide. I mean, we've got everyone. Everyone can recognize a lot of this stuff. Quest Diagnosis, Goodyear, American Airlines. Who else we got? Shit looks like Arm & Hammer. Volvo, Subway, STIHL, which is like industrial shit. I don't know. I be seeing that stuff everywhere. So we see all of this stuff, guys. So the values that connect us: courage, quality, perseverance, commitment, respect. All right. Now a little bit more about GTreasury, right? So GTreasury is a corporate treasury management software company, essentially, and they provide treasury management systems, cash forecasting, payments, hedging, and risk assessments. Buying GTreasury opens up a plethora of clients to Ripple, as you can see on the bottom of your screen here. They have a huge customer base that manages cash, and they hedge payments. This positions Ripple to offer both fiat and digital assets liquidity treasury features to corporate clients. All right. I mean, they are becoming an all-encompassing company. Let's go a little bit deeper into GTreasury just real quick, okay? For starters, just to slap the shit out of Swift. Swift has 11,000 bank connections. Take a wild guess as to how many bank connections GTreasury has. 13,000. So if we're going by numbers here, 2,000 makes a pretty big difference, okay? Shit's crazy. But let's go a little bit deeper. As we are digging a little bit deeper, guys, the answer is right in front of you. I almost can stop the video right here, but I've bitten off a lot, and I'm gonna finish it. I promise. Here's the fucking deal, okay? Corporate treasuries face increasing pressure to manage more with fewer resources. To stay competitive, banks need to support clients with automation, visibility, and new processes. As banks realize they can't build everything in-house, many are turning to fintechs like GTreasury for white-labeled solutions and partnerships that drive revenue and minimize risk. White label? I mean, does it get any more cut and black and white than that? If you don't know, I mean, you should know what a white label is, but if you don't know already, guys, it's when they use another company's product and label it as their own, basically. And that's what a white label is. It happens in many industries. It happens in the alcohol industry all the time. This is just what happens. They are going to use Ripple's products as a white label product, and they are connected to more banks than Swift. As if we need Swift for anything. They are overstepping Swift at this point. Get real with yourself. Understand what's really happening here. Alright? So, before GTreasury, Ripple clients were mostly banks, payments providers, and crypto institutions using RippleNet or like the XRP ledger. Right? Now, Ripple can sell directly to corporations, CFOs, and treasuries of mid to large enterprise who use GTreasury to manage shit. I'm going to have an aneurysm. So this is the stuff they can do now. Cash forecasting and liquidity, payments and collections, FX and hedging, short-term investment and debt. And since liquidity is now a topic here, we will go into their other acquisition that they have done with BNY Mellon, holding their all USD reserves. Just pay attention to how this is about to play out, guys, and what we're about to connect here. Let's just also remind everybody that we have Ripple's national bank license is up for approval at the end of this month, or at the end of October 2025. I do not know when this video is going to get posted, so it could have already happened. It may have gotten delayed. We don't know what's going to happen. All I know is Ripple's positioned to succeed regardless if they get approved of this or not. This is insane, okay? But just keep that in mind as well. I wanted to put that in this video so we do not forget about that. That is absolutely huge. If they can become their own bank, I mean, it's game over. Let's just be honest.
Shane? My name's not Shane, kid.
BNY Mellon's website here, we can read in the first paragraph, on July 9th, 2025, they announced that today, Ripple, the leading provider of digital asset infrastructure for financial institutions, announced it has selected the Bank of New York Mellon Corporation, BNY Mellon, a global financial service company, for the primary custody of Ripple RUSD reserves. Ripple and BNY are jointly committed to paving the way for digital asset adoption at institutional scale, and together are bridging the gap between the traditional finance and crypto ecosystems. So this isn't just, hey, we're BNY Mellon and we'll hold on to your little cryptocurrency coin for you while you figure things out. No, this is BNY Mellon. So let me tell you exactly what BNY Mellon is and why this is so important.
Big, because we're talking about a company that's over 240 years old, and that is the old guard of what's going on in Wall Street, now starting to make their way into the new guard of what will be digital assets. Now, I want to go further into this because this is Brad Garlinghouse talking about the partnership. Take a look.
You need a custodian for your stablecoin. Why BNY?
BNY Mellon has, for a very long time been amongst the most trusted partners out there for as a custody bank. We joined the market kind of late, partly because we were using stablecoins in our payment flows for our institutional customers. We use stablecoins, we use XRP where it makes sense. We have over 60 global licenses to participate in these markets. For those that have said that the crypto world wants to be unregulated, whatever, the opposite is true.
Man, a Fed master account for Ripple, that would be unbelievable bullish for XRP in general. There is nobody that is running at the level right now that Ripple is, and even Ethereum is starting to take a look at this. I think this.
When we take a look at some of the history of BNY Mellon, okay, it was founded by Alexander Hamilton in 1784. BNY probably holds the title of America's oldest bank and the longest continuously operating financial service company in New York City. We have a proven track record of evolving through challenging times and supporting markets through cycles. Our legacy of innovation and resilience drives us forward. We are continuously adapting to meet any needs and address risks as we plan for what lies ahead. And people still want to tell you that XRP is some type of rug pull. Insanity. Absolutely insanity. For more than 240 years, we've been at the forefront of financial innovation and change. Beyond just developing new technologies and platforms, and using our industry-leading data to understand where markets are headed, and collaborating with technology startups that keep us and our clients ready for the future. And people still think XRP is going nowhere. The oldest bank in the country is choosing Ripple and XRP. Get out of here. This allowed Ripple to gain the biggest nod in the financial industry right now. When it comes to trying to align yourself with institutional credibility, there is nobody better to do it for you than BNY Mellon, and they succeeded in doing that. All right, with that being said, this also allows Ripple to have stronger reserve operations and risk infrastructure, okay? That being because BNY Mellon brings mature infrastructure around custody, asset servicing, and transaction banking. Things like liquid management, cash reserve movement, conversions for minting, redemption. All right. Previously, if Ripple handled more internally or with less large-scale fiduciary partner support, the scale, auditability, and institutional risk profile may have been weaker. That is a fact. This allows them to have better regulatory alignment, improve operational scalability, and a bridge between traditional finance. Guys, I mean, this is getting insane. Having a major traditional custodian connects RLUSD more directly into the legacy banking ecosystem, settlement, custody, and banking rails. They have sped things up tenfold. All right. Gaining regulatory comfort with enterprise clients such as banks or corporations that expect major custodial counterparties and standardized risk frameworks is absolutely essential for Ripple. And look at what's happening. Guys, as we are discussing this, I hope you are starting to see the legs of a new financial system starting to take place here. Okay, so with RLUSD custody with BNY Mellon and GTreasury acquisition, we have together, all right, they have an end-to-end institutional framework where Ripple provides rails, GTreasury connects enterprise users, and BNY Mellon anchors the system with traditional finance custody. All right, BNY Mellon securely custodies the US dollar reserves that backs Ripple's RUSD, ensuring trust and regulatory compliance. All right, GTreasury integrates Ripple's payment and liquidity technology into corporate treasury systems, allowing businesses to manage cash, pay globally, and use RLUSD for instant settlement. What do you need to transfer that settlement? XRP, right? But there you go. You guys can see kind of one little piece of the system start to develop. Now let's go on to Rail as well. All right, now as you can see here, Rail website is on your screen. Rail is payment infrastructure built for global business, a platform that compliantly connects the best of fiat and stablecoin payments so you can move money fast, save costs, and build to grow, all via a single API. Modern money movement, 10 billion annual processing volume globally, and then we have 12 plus bank partners, 95% to settlement time. All right, start moving money with Rail immediately. We're ready to scale with you. Overlapping coverage and uninterrupted services from our bank network, and same-day settlement means faster payments and smoother cash flow. Shit is crazy, guys. Infrastructure that saves time and costs. Now, I've discussed this in previous videos, but we're bringing this all down in this video. All of it. Reliability through redundancy, future-ready payments today. Rail's flexible platform adapts to changing regulations and market dynamics, ensuring your payment infrastructure is always ahead of the curve. Get fast, affordable payments now, and stay future-ready with Rail's scalable, compliance-driven solutions. Ripple bought these guys for $200 million. No biggie, just a drop in the bucket.
Hey, shit in the bucket! He's shitting in your bucket, man! Ma! Call the police! Call the cops! Hey, break it up, asshole! He's shit! Don't do it again! Ma!
Oh, God!
He's shitting in the bucket, Ma!
I don't even need to know. You don't have to tell me. I can tell you right now. New York is not a real place, and that was definitely in New York. You know who you are. Alrighty, how your international payment works on Rail's hybrid system. So, how your international payments work on Rail's hybrid system. When you partner with Rail, you get access to our global networks of banking partners, unlocking a suite of capabilities and currency support. Initiate. You initiate the payment via the API, our Rail dashboard, and we chart the most cost and time-efficient path through our partner network, including identifying backup partners for redundancy. As needed, the payment will pass from a fiat currency into a stablecoin through an exchange to expedite the payment exponentially while costing you almost nothing in fees. We manage the compliance and tracking on transitions between fiat and stablecoins. Guys, this is like snap of a finger. The stablecoin settles into worldwide fiat currency of your choice. Payments that took days and weeks now take hours or less. No wallets required. Move money. Get started with infrastructure that's fast, smarter, and built for global reach. Let's future-proof your payments together.
This absolutely blew my mind today. So Rail, you know that little Canadian stablecoin company that Ripple's buying for $200 million? Yeah, they process 10% of all global business-to-business stablecoin payments this year. Think about that. One company moving 1 out of every 10 transactions in a $36 billion industry? Ripple is locking that down, and this deal is expected to be done in Q4 of this year. And Ripple makes genius moves. Rail's another strategic Ripple purchase because it helps plug stablecoins directly into the traditional fiat system. Now you add that Hidden Road acquisition into the mix, and you'll quickly see Ripple is buying up the pipes for the new financial system. And these pipes are built and tested to run on Ripple's RLUSD and, of course, XRP. And while we're all out here gearing up for these spot ETFs coming up in a couple weeks, Ripple's quietly locking up global money flows. Guys, don't you sleep on Rail, because when you're out there controlling 10% of the market, you're not just in the market, you are the market.
In the last clip, you saw mentioned that Ripple agreed to buy prime broker Hidden Road for $1.25 billion in one of the largest deals in the digital asset space ever. Okay. So let's just read these few bullet points here. Ripple will inject billions of dollars of capital to provide immediate scale and satisfy the demand for Hidden Road's prime brokerage, clearing, and financing platform. RUSD becomes the first stablecoin to enable efficient cross-margining between digital assets and traditional markets, reinforcing its position as a premium enterprise-grade USD-backed stablecoin. Facts. Hidden Road to migrate post-trade activity across XRP ledger, demonstrating its potential as the go-to blockchain for institutional decentralized finance, aka DeFi. Guys, you're going to start to see towards the second half of this video the trend on DeFi and exactly where XRP is going in the next few months to the next year. This shit is not a joke. Exactly what this will do for Ripple, I will have this next clip explained for you. But Hidden Road has a strong business, and they clear $3 trillion annually across the market with more than 300 top institutional customers. Alright, it says right here, with the backing of Ripple's significant balance sheet, Hidden Road will exponentially expand its capacity to service its pipeline and become one of the largest non-bank prime brokers globally. Keep in mind, they still have that banking license that's going to come through at the end of the month as well. This shit is crazy. Cue the clip.
No, God! No! No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Guys, what this allows Ripple to do is, one, become a global prime broker, so they will be supplying exchanges with RLUSD and crypto. All right, this gives Ripple direct access to institutional pipes of global finance. Then we have RLUSD becoming real collateral, XRPL goes institutional, and Ripple gains instant access to 300 plus institutional clients with this acquisition. Hedge funds, asset managers, and trading firms that clear trillions annually. This massively expands Ripple's reach into traditional finance. Please go ahead and watch this clip.
This deal now gives Ripple a huge stack to offer. A regulated trading network, a stablecoin with real utility, a ledger with institutional grade settlement speed, a way to scale volume onto the XRP ledger, and financial institutions and funds that need clearing and settlement. So now Ripple offers an end-to-end solution, from trade execution to financing to settlement, all powered by XRP and RLUSD within the same ecosystem. When a company spends over $1 billion during some uncertain economic times, they're not taking a gamble. They're confident in what's coming next. And skeptics have said for a long time that XRP would never see real institutional use. Well, guess what? Ripple literally owns a pipeline that moves over $3 trillion a year, and it's about to be plugged directly into the XRP ledger. So Ripple just showed their hand, and it looks like they're betting big on XRP and RLUSD becoming essential tools in the future of global.
Walking on fighting side of me. That don't look like it. It don't. It don't go down.
Robert, it goes down.
No, it don't.
It do go down.
Oh!
Almost last but certainly not least, we have Ripple's acquisition of Metaco. This powers XRPL's first public digital bond issuance platform. And with that being said, you guys need to lock in, right? So when we go ahead and we take a look a little bit more, Ripple excites XRP Army as Metaco acquisitions bring banks closer, right? Let's get a little bit more information here. But essentially what this is going to do for Ripple is it expands institutional digital asset custody, enables issuance, settlement, and tokenization of assets. They get access to global scale and institutional clients, right? Metaco already serves major financial institutions across many jurisdictions: Switzerland, Germany, UK, Singapore, and Australia. Through the acquisition, Ripple gains access to that customer base, which helps it expand its enterprise reach beyond payments into banking, custody, and asset management. All right, this is not a joke. The institutional crypto custody market is projected to grow significantly. Ripple has cited 10 trillion by 2030 in this space. Yes, when things start to really pop off, people are going to go crazy, and they will not be able to get their hands off of XRP. And we'll just read a couple paragraphs here. Swiss-based digital asset custody provider Metaco has announced a significant partnership with banking giant HSBC, a move that is expected to strengthen support for the XRPL in the wake of Ripple's acquisition. CEO of Metaco attributes the success of this collaboration to persistent negotiations spanning 18 months, which now indirectly promote the usage of XRPL and its native XRP token. The integration combines Metaco's digital asset custody solutions with Ripple's capabilities, providing banks with a vertical stack solution for effectively managing tokenization life cycles and payment primitives. This partnership comes at a time when Ripple is embroidered in a lawsuit with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. However, Metaco remains committed to advancing its partnership with Tier 1 banks worldwide, focusing on enhancing the efficiency of cross-border payments. Guys, lock in.
Well, a non-disclosure agreement is a legal contract between at least two parties that outlines confidential material, knowledge, or information that the parties wish to share with one another for certain purposes, but wish to restrict access to, or by third parties.
Never forget what's going on behind the scenes. Which central banks are you working with? This question was asked of James Wallace. And James says, who is one of the CBDC advisors at Ripple. He says, we're working with many of them. They're mostly under non-disclosure agreements. So I'm not at liberty to share the details. We're working with each continent apart from Antarctica.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
All right, as you guys can see on your screen here, there's evidence of David Schwartz going to Antarctica. Here's evidence of Brad Garlinghouse going to Antarctica. Here's evidence of Klaus Schwab going to Antarctica. Here's evidence of Christine Lagarde going to Antarctica. And here's evidence of David Schwartz cats going to Antarctica again.
Remember, so many NDAs, so many NDAs. When you're working with the central banks, when you're working with these banks, financial institutions, this is not. I mean, we're not talking about these little partnerships that the little crypto kids are getting, right? This is massive deals.
With Ripple's acquisition of Rail, GTreasury, Metaco, Hidden Road, and their AllUSD reserves being held by BNY Mellon, we are slowly seeing the formation of an all-encompassing, free from financial institutions and central bank digital financial system, if that makes sense. All right. Ripple's acquisition of Rail, GTreasury, Hidden Road, Metaco, along with BNY Mellon's custody of RUSD, form an interconnected financial ecosystem that bridges traditional and digital finance. Rail provides global payment connectivity. GTreasury manages on-chain liquidity and corporate cash flows. Hidden Road enables institutional trading, clearing, and collateralization across asset classes. Metaco offers secure custody and tokenization infrastructure. Together, they let Ripple issue, move, trade, and safeguard value entirely within its own network, using RUSD and XRP ledger, without reliance on central banks. With BNY Mellon safeguarding RUSD reserves, Ripple gains institutional trust and regulatory credibility, completing a closed-loop, blockchain-based financial system that operates independently of traditional central bank control. And people still wonder why the central banks are scared.
Requested application to apply for an OCC license as well as a Fed master account. We think that the key here for crypto and the kind of decentralized finance, as many people call it, Ripple has been building bridges between traditional finance and decentralized finance. The world isn't going to be taken over by crypto. Instead, we think about how do we take the best of what crypto brings in facilitating faster, cheaper transactions and bring it to traditional finance. That's been at the heart of what Ripple has been focused on from the beginning. This is a step towards that, and certainly getting an OCC license. For those that have said that the crypto world wants to be unregulated, whatever, the opposite is true. You know, I'm here in Washington in part, as you referenced, there's a Senate Banking Committee hearing today. We are advocating as an industry to be regulated.
Ripple just made the most bullish regulatory move in crypto. This is how I see this, because this changes everything regarding institutional money flow. So Ripple is applying for a national bank charter from the OCC, but pay attention to this, a Fed master account. I say it again, a Fed master account. And then you ask me, what is a Fed master account? I didn't know, but I went to research. So essentially they are becoming the first company to operate under a full federal banking oversight. They are not granted yet, okay? This is if the license is granted and the Fed master account is granted. They are positioning the RLUSD, stablecoin, as the institutional grade stablecoin with direct access to Federal Reserve backing for reserves. Do you understand this? How bullish this is? Having a crypto company, having a federal master account.
On September 30th, 2025, David Joel Katz Schwartz, CTO of Ripple, stepped down from his position. He then became a board member and went on to get another job at another company that we will discuss in just a second. With that being said, here is his message upon exit from Ripple and his CTO position. As happens in one's life, I've been taking stock of my last 40 years. It's been a wild ride. I'm gone from counseling for the NSA to watching the early stages of Bitcoin. Then I met Arthur, Jed, and Chris and worked on coding the XRP ledger. Now I've spent more than 13 years at Ripple. And we'll go ahead and just read the last paragraph here. I'll still be in and out of the Ripple offices as CTO Emeritus. And as my last talk at Ripple, Chris asked me to join Ripple's board of directors to continue supporting the company's mission and long term. I look forward to seeing the rest of you at XRP community events around the world. Joel Katz. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is where the video just starts to get unhinged.
Yeah. Yo.
The argument for Bitcoin being a test It just gets so much better at this point, okay? So here's what happened. David Schwartz stepped down from his position as CTO of Ripple, and he is now an advisor on the board of Ripple. Brad Garlinghouse is now an advisor on the board of Evernorth, along with David Schwartz as well. Evernorth is a company that will be the first and world's largest institutional XRP treasury. Ashish Birla, who is a current board member on Ripple as well. This shit is not a joke. Let's go ahead and break this down for just a second before we break down what Evernorth is setting out to do here. Okay. A new $1 billion public company, Evernorth, will buy XRP on the open market to build the world's largest institutional XRP treasury. Now look at who's running it. Former Ripple GM who led adoption with MoneyGram and BitSco. Ex-head of strategic capital at Bank of America who managed $8 billion at balance sheet capital. Legal chief with leadership of Gemini, Amex, and Bitcoin Legal Defense Fund. A fintech builder who launched card payment rails used by Coinbase and Venmo. Brad Garlinghouse and David Schwartz themselves. These aren't just insiders, they're architects of the next financial rails, which I have explained previously. These aren't just insiders, guys. They're buying billions worth of XRP to lock supply and scale adoption before the public even wakes up. Capital markets are shifting. XRP is a settlement layer. What if $1,000 XRP isn't crazy? It is not. As you guys can observe on your screen here, we have a tweet from David Schwartz himself expressing gratitude on his next adventure soon, which will be Evernorth, helmed by his friend Ashko himself, which his name is Ashish Birla. Again, he was a former director on Ripple, and he is now the CEO of Evernorth himself. Guys, people do not leave Ripple and go somewhere else. They leave Ripple and create more shit for Ripple. It's facts. Alright? Evernorth was founded as a regulated, scalable investment vehicle to tap into opportunities for XRP in DeFi. Guys, it is taking over. More coming in for that soon. Evernorth was founded as a regulated, scalable investment vehicle to tap into opportunities for XRP in DeFi. Guys, DeFi is taking over. We are going into a new era in cryptocurrency and digital finance as a whole. Alright? This extends the entire XRP ecosystem. And David is excited to get started. Let's go ahead and check out Brad's tweet here as well. We have Ashish and team are building something special with Evernorth XRP. We are proud to partner with him. Proud to join an incredible set of investors including SBI Holdings, Pantera Capital, Kraken, GSR, and Ripple Works to support Evernorth as it participates in institutional lending, liquidity provisioning, and DeFi yield opportunities for XRP. I'm telling you guys to learn DeFi now because when it comes at the institutional level, for example, with XRP being listed on the NASDAQ at the beginning of next year, no one's going to know what is going on. People are going to lose their minds. You need to know what is going on in the back end before this happens. Alright? Have exposure to XRP yourself. This is a great opportunity in the future, but you need exposure to XRP yourself. Alright? Take a look at Chris Larson's tweet here. Essentially, we don't need to look at anything here. Just know he is proud to invest 50 million XRP in the firm. Guys, you cannot convince me that the playbook for Michael Saylor and Bitcoin is not being replicated here. Michael Saylor is an actor.
What's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best, okay? But take all your money, buy Bitcoin, then take all your time, figure out how to borrow more money to buy more Bitcoin. And so MicroStrategy became the first public company to buy Bitcoin. And we bought $250 million of Bitcoin in August of 2020, and no one had ever made such a large commitment to this scary, new, crazy crypto.
The street shit go down to 63rd, 64th, 103rd, 83rd. Nigga, you way too up the block, ain't you? You a little too much up the block. That's the suburbs, ain't it?
Evernorth XRP, soon to be traded on NASDAQ, is backed by Ripple. David Schwartz, the famous legend of XRP,
ledger fame.
I am the keeper of a greater magic, a power known throughout the universe as the Force? No, the Schwartz. The Schwartz. What is it that you do here? Merchandising. Where the real money from the movie is made. Spaceballs the t-shirt. Spaceballs the coloring book. Spaceballs the lunchbox. Spaceballs the breakfast cereal. Spaceballs the flamethrower. The kids love this one.
Immediately think of the NASDAQ. Just the psychological benefit of that when it comes to institutional buying. I don't think people understand how that works, but it's absolutely huge in all sorts of ways. The second thing is this. It's going to serve as an XRP sink, a place where massive amounts of stuff gets dumped just to take it out of the market. So as you hear, they're going to be buying a minimum of $1 billion to buy XRP as treasuries, right? And once they do that, do you think they're going to stop? No.
No person can wake up one morning and say, I want to print more. It's a global currency, and you hold this on your balance sheet with the potential growth in the price. Do you realize what that would do to your profits of your company? So this is the key, to really broaden your perspective and understand what is actually happening here. And the news just keeps coming out on a daily basis. So we're on the looming approvals of XRP ETFs. We have companies now rushing to create XRP treasuries. And we have banks wanting to use XRP as a cross-border payment due to its amazing technology.
When Ripple literally buys GTreasury, Rail, Hidden Road, they hold RUSD reserves with BNY Mellon and XRPN on NASDAQ through Evernorth. When you take all of these acquisitions and these moves and put them into one pot and mix it together and throw that shit at the wall and then slap your meat on the desk of ISO and the desk of SWIFT and the desk of the entire population of the entire world, you get an all-encompassing new digital financial system.
10 years, I've been wrong.
Bitcoin tax.
To bear interest, at that point, it's not up to me to decide whether that's up to Congress. That's why I don't want to think about paying interest on these payment accounts. It's not supposed to be an account for somebody to hold stablecoins and earn interest. You're not holding it to earn interest. So it's a claim on the banks. You can disintermediate a bank, but you can't disintermediate the banking system. You don't have any claim to demand treasuries. You don't get to go to the bank.
You can't disintermediate the banking system. Guys, they know it's coming. There's nothing they can do about it, and that's the best part. There's one conclusion to come to here. Ripple's global footprint on the upcoming financial system. Alright? We have Hidden Road, $1.25 billion acquisition, GTreasury, $1 billion acquisition, Rail, $200 billion acquisition, Metaco, $250 million acquisition, and the Evernorth XRPN SPAC coming to NASDAQ next year. This shit is not a joke. This is not a laughing matter, guys. The end game is here for Ripple. Tokenized global financial infrastructure is here. Ripple is not building anymore. They have built the backbone for a tokenized global financial system. You guys can either lock in or get locked out.
None of you seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you.
That's it! You're locked in here with me!
I violently agree with something Richard said, which is, on one hand, the U.S. GDP is about 22% of global GDP, so there's 78% that, in a lot of those jurisdictions have already been very pro-crypto. But I do also believe that the U.S. has had an outsized impact and kind of just a negative influence, which has been super frustrating. And I think the Trump effect, I actually think, is so far still underestimated. And now I always get nervous, and I heard somebody talking yesterday, and they're like, expectations are very high. And when expectations are high, I think more about downside than upside. But I think when the largest economy in the world is, I think, going to shift significantly, and I think there is going to be a Trump effect domestically, but the pun intended ripple effect of that.
My plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet.
Just to close this out, during the making of this video, over the course of a couple of days, we have seen a significant increase since the acquisition of GTreasury and the SPAC of Evernorth. That being said, we now have, you guys know how I love Japan, and Japan just carries XRP basically. I mean, their most bought cryptocurrency is 80% XRP. Done deal. There can only be one conclusion made after watching that entire video. If you've made it to the end of this documentary of some sorts, please drop a comment that says the end. Because that is where Ripple is right now. We are heading towards the end. We are heading towards everything we have been working towards, ladies and gentlemen. If you have enjoyed this in any way, shape, or form, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Please make sure to drop a comment and drop a like. Turn on that bell for the notifications. I put in a lot of work into this video. It was not half-assed, even though it might seem that way. With that being said, it has been a pleasure for everyone that has subscribed to this channel. I very much enjoyed it. I will continue to grow this community as much as I possibly can. If you guys want a part 2 or a follow-up to a video like this, please let me know in the comments below. And I am going to finish up and get out of here. You feel me?
To 2011, which was when these three geniuses, one of them sitting right here, got together and taking some of the ideas from the Ripple project around the idea of pathfinding algorithms to exchange anything of value for any other thing of value. That's sort of effectively the birth of XRP. We then created a company, and then we also were lucky enough to be able to acquire the URL for Ripple, which is kind of a funny story. It came from a Grateful Dead super fan. It's related to the song Ripple from the Grateful Dead. We always loved the Grateful Dead. And so that all kind of came together in 2012.
Again, let it be known, if your cup is full, may it be again, let it be known. There is a fountain that was not made by the hands of men. There is a fountain that was not made by the hands of men. There is.
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no fucking way, boy. Boy, ain't no 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 fucking way, boy. Boy, ain't no 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 fucking way, boy. Ain't no way, boy.
Masked up tight like a thief in the dark. No face, no case, that's the spark of his art. Charts crashing, burning like the 4th of July. But no face, crypto still flying high. He rides the wave while the rest just drown. Rich list rider, wearing the crown. Liquidation storms can't crack his code. He built his empire on the blockchain road. No face, no case, no trace, no waste. In the crypto game, he's the ace in the race. No face, no case. face, no need to replace the king of the chain, staying in his own space. When the market turned red and the bulls went blind, he stayed steady, sharp, mastermind, refined. While wallets froze and traders wept, he flipped the script and his ledger kept. Bag so heavy, it bends the rules, swimming through the sharks while they fight for pools. The greatest YouTuber to grace the scene, turning bear markets into a money machine. No face, no case, no trace, no waste in the crypto game. He's the ace in the race. No face, no case, no need to replace the king of the chain, staying in his own space. When the market turned red and the bulls went blind, he stayed steady, sharp, mastermind, refined. While wallets froze and traders wept, he flipped the script and his ledger kept. Bag so heavy, it bends the rules, swimming through the sharks while they fight for pools. The greatest YouTuber to grace the scene, turning bear markets into a money machine. No face, no case, no trace, no waste in the crypto game. He's the ace in the race. No face, no case, no need to replace the king of the chain, staying in his own space.